Hello! Welcome back to another Book Wizards Book Club. Like we started last week, this book club is for elementary kids and maybe some younger teens if they're interested. And it's very simple. I'm going to read a couple of chapters of a book to them, and at the end of each book club there will be a fun activity for them to participate in. And by participating in this book club, they get to earn points or minutes for their summer reading logs, which then gets them prizes a lot faster. So we started this book last week. We are in the middle of reading Night of the Ninjas by Mary Pope Osborn. It's one of the Matted Treehouse books. And like we learned last week, Jack and Annie are two kids who found a treehouse that is full of books. And whenever they open a book and they wish to go to into that book, they are transported back in time in history to wherever that book took place. The owner of the tree house is, her name is Morgan Le Fay, and she is actually missing. Oh no. So Jack and Annie are off trying to find where Morgan Le Fay is, and they found a note from her in the tree house. And that's where we started off with chapter 2. Chapter 2, the open book. Jack showed Annie the piece of paper. It said, "Help me, under a spell, find 4 thin." "Oh no," said Annie, "we have to help her." And they're talking about Morgan Le Fay. "But what's a thin?" "Maybe she was trying to write things," said Jack. "See how the N sort of runs off the page?" "Maybe the spell was starting to make her disappear or something," said Annie. "Right," said Jack. "I wonder if she left any other clues." He glanced around the treehouse. "Look," Annie pointed at a book in the corner. "That's the only open book," she said. Jack looked around again. Annie was right. He felt a shiver go down his spine. Jack went over to the book and picked it up. He held near the window. Light from the setting sun was golden on the page. Jack stared at the picture on it. In the picture were trees with white flowers. The trees were on the side of a mountain, near a wide rushing stream. 2 people were also in the picture. They wore dark clothes, they had black scars on their faces, and long swords strapped to their backs. "Oh man," whispered Jack. "Who are they?" Annie asked. "Ninjas, I think," said Jack. "Ninjas, really?" said Annie. "Morgan must have left the book open to this page for a reason," said Jack. "Maybe that's where she was when the spell got her," Annie said. "Or maybe that's where the 4 things are," said Jack. "Let's go," said Annie. "Now?" said Jack. "Yes, Morgan's in trouble. She needs us now," said Annie. But we should read this book first," said Jack, so we'll be prepared." "Forget it," said Annie. "Every minute counts." She grabbed the book from Jack. "Give it back," he said. "We have to find out about this place." Annie held the book out of reach. "We'll find out when we get there," she said. "We don't even know where there is," Jack said. But Annie pointed at the picture. "I wish we could go here," she said. The leaves of the oak tree began to shake. "Squeak!" "Don't be scared, Peanut," said Annie. She scooped up the mouse and she put it in the pouch of her sweatshirt. The wind began to blow. It blew harder and harder. The treehouse started to spin faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything went still. Absolutely still. Except for the sound of rushing water. Chapter 3. Jack opened his eyes. Annie was already looking out the window. The mouse peeked out of her pouch. Jack looked out the window too. The air was fresh and cool. The treehouse was in a tree with white flowers. The tree was in a grove of trees on the side of the mountain. Nearby, a wild stream rushed downhill. 2 ninjas were standing on rocks near the water. They were staring at the valley below. One ninja was tall, the other was short. They wore black pants and shirts. They had black scars around their head and the swords strapped to their backs. It was exactly like the picture in the book. Jack crouched below the window. "Be careful," he whispered. Don't let them see you. Why not? Annie whispered back. They might think we're some kind of enemy, said Jack quietly. Annie crashed beside him. Jack pushed his glasses into place. Now he was going to look at the ninja book. He picked up the book. He turned to the beginning and read. Very little is known about the shadowy warriors called ninjas. Historians believe that ninjas lived in Japan between the 14th and the 17th centuries. Both men and women were ninjas. Sometimes they fought to protect their families. Sometimes warlords hired them to be spies. Wow, whispered Jack. We're in Japan hundreds of years ago. Jack opened his backpack. He pulled out his notebook and pencil, and he liked to take notes. He wrote, ninjas were warriors in old Japan. Jack, whispered Annie. They were looking up. I think they know we're here. Jack peeked over the windowsill. His eyes met the dark eyes of the tall ninja. Hi-ya! The ninja cried. He dashed toward the tree. The other ninja followed. Oh no, said Annie. We've got to go, Jack said. Where's the Pennsylvania book? He and Annie looked around wildly. But where was the book about Pennsylvania? It had the picture of Frog Creek Woods in it. Jack and Annie couldn't get home without it. It's not anywhere, cried Annie. We've got to do something fast, said Jack. Pull the ladder. He and Annie grabbed the top of the rope ladder. They pulled the ladder into the treehouse. But the tall ninja leaped at the tree trunk. Then he started to climb the tree. The short ninja followed. They climbed just like cats. Jack and Annie huddled in a corner. The ninjas climbed into the treehouse. Neither one made a sound. Look at the picture of the ninjas climbing the tree. Whoa. And that is where we're leaving off today. We will start chapter 4 with the next time. Today's fun activity is I want you to check out a book about ninjas, or maybe with your parents' permission, you can be on the internet. And I want you to find some interesting facts about ninjas, then tell your parents 3 cool things you learned. Okay? I'll see you next week for another Book Wizards Book Club.